Hey guys, I hope you guys are all doing well. Today we're just gonna do some technical analysis, go over just the last week or two. So we'll be talking a little bit about crypto. We'll do some stocks, some forex, and that'll be it. So we'll just talk about how Bitcoin's been moving in the last few days. So there was that initial dump. Can't remember the last time talked. I'm guessing around New Year's or after New Year's. Maybe around Christmas, maybe. So we did have that dump from Christmas, which was expected. So today I'm using a different EMA and WMA pair. You don't have to use WMA. Weighted moving average is just a little bit faster than EMA. I do have one. EMA probably is good too, but it does give a faster movement, so it doesn't really matter. I just ran out of indicators. I'd like to have more, but I can't get those on the free version. So we did have some. So where did this? Let's talk about the pump. So we had the dump. Actually, okay, let's talk about the dump. So we had the dump from Christmas or Christmas Eve. So it was around here, this area here. We had the momentum changing. You can see the MACDs. Try to make this one a little bit bigger. Oh, I can't move it up right now, but hopefully you can see that the slope was actually changing here. We had the decrease in the slope. The slope of it actually started to point to negative infinity. So you can see that we had the momentum change. We had the RSI, the default RSI, that's the yellow one. We had it come overbought on the 4 hour, then we had some momentum shifting down. And that was the initial dump. So we did get the RSI getting back to oversold here. We did, so you're gonna have to, you can't just go off one chart, you're gonna have to also go off the day, the weekly, and the monthly too. But we did get some momentum here. See if I can zoom in. We did have, so we got oversold there. We had a little bit of momentum, maybe the next candle. Then we kind of had a little bit of a dump and then it ended up high. And after that it dumped a little bit more and then we had another opportunity to scalp there. And I've been doing some scalps when I have time, aside from like my coding stuff. But maybe, you know, I'll try to do 1 or 2 a week. You can check out my ideas on my trading view. I try to put 1 or 2 ideas a week. Just quick ones. I don't really have too much time to look at it, but I just kind of quickly see something and I'll just write up a quick idea. You can check them out. So we did continue to dump and we did see some momentum. Well, we kind of had that kind of crashing kind of dump. That was around here. It dumped and then it kind of started to go up again and then it dumped. And it's easier to note on the daily. So we'll just switch to the daily so you can see that's what we're talking about. We had the momentum shifting down. On the MACD you can see that it was inflecting to negative infinity. We had the bar change, the slope change. This one's faster. We had the RSI default isn't actually overbought here. The slower ones are, but you can see that we did eventually kind of. So let me just remove these lines. So what is the 3 and the 10 EMAs give me? And what can they give you? Well, they can give you gaps. So if you, like here, this is a gap. So here's a gap. So we had kind of the swing low here. The swing low, and you can see that tip of that candle to where that EMA, or yeah, that's the EMA 10. You can see there's a gap here, however much that is. I was trying to do an indicator with this guy named Locks. It was my logic. He was just helping me convert it from Java and C to Java or C to PineScript. It basically just tells you the percent away from the moving average. We're still working. Well, basically I was working on it. He's kind of helped me and then just stopped. So I may continue to figure it out if I have time. But it just tells you. It basically it's like. Think of it. It's like another indicator I was kind of creating. But what it does is. It's my logic. So all it does is it just tells you the percent difference. Like think of it as a pretend histograms in here. Think of it like a MACD, except what it does is each bar would tell you the percent away from this line. So from the 10 EMA it would tell you like 5%, 7%, 10%, and then once it starts to go back up like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it kind of could tell you, once it gets to like 5% or 6% or something, then you may have an opportunity. But you can see that this is a gap. There's a gap here. If you were trying to, go like long here, well, for a scalp, would you? I mean, you could. There is some gap, but there isn't a big gap. That's where the percent would come in. Again, everything's going to change. Like this is a gap here. Then and then what does it usually do? It kind of, while this EMA starts to come down below, this one comes up at the same time, so you kind of get like something like that. It kind of meets somewhere in the middle, maybe more like that. While this still gets some momentum up, somewhere like something like that, if you can get the idea. That's what it does though. If you don't know how EMAs work or like how moving averages work, they kind of connect when you get gaps like that. So I am liking the 10. I haven't used it before. It seems to kind of give me some good weekly opportunities. And if you're on the weekly, you could see some monthly, and if you're on the monthly, you could see more than that. But like here's a gap, right? A little bit of a gap, see some momentum changing. Perhaps you'll get a swing. Can I change that? Yes, I can. Okay. So yeah, so hopefully you can see that. Like I said, to just try different settings out. You got to test them, I guess. It takes time if you have time. Volume I don't really use, to be honest. It doesn't really help me at all. I don't need it. What does work? Well, the gaps have been cool. So what's really happening now? Well, again, we have for crypto, or Bitcoin and stuff, Ethereum, we have the MACD actually crossing finally. So I know if you've been watching the channel that we've been kind of watching this and waiting for it to cross for a very long time. So finally we have it crossing down, so I wouldn't be going long for too long here. Just because you'll probably definitely see that cross down. Like for that not to cross down would take like an immense amount of money to make that not cross down on the next month. Like it would take like a massive amount. Unheard of. So that's probably going to cross down. We do have those EMAs crossing down. I don't use those too much, but it is I think we definitely could get below that 39, definitely back into that level, and I'm pretty sure we'll get below there if that really starts moving. Where again, we have no Keltners today, but they definitely do help. I'm thinking somewhere between was that 20? What's the high of that? Okay, 19.6. I'm thinking 19.6 and 13. I don't see it going down any more than that. If it does, I would be surprised, because I think just anywhere there in general will get bought up pretty quickly. So that should be it. So this 4-hour swing could get a little bit more. We could see that weekly kind of turn up a little bit more, maybe fill that gap a bit more. And I don't see it really coming too high at this point with that MACD crossing down. So we're going to say that swings up a little higher. I wouldn't be, counting on it. You kind of want to catch that bottom in the first couple days. Look for momentum, right? And then kind of exit. You don't want to be holding too long if you're scalping it. That weekly's just the candle just kind of forming. We do have a gap even to the 3, the EMA 3. That's at like 43. So we do have a little bit more gap on that, even to the 3. So we could probably will see that come up higher. It's nice to have a 2. An EMA 2 might be nice if you can have it, because sometimes you get nice retracements to that at the right times. Other than that, a 20's been too much. 50, you might need like a 200 for smaller time frames, or maybe for the weekly, just to see how low we could go. But I think the 200 EMA does get somewhere around there anyways. So we'll move on from that. We will try to do a few more things. Let's see, I did have, so I think most of these were good. So we do have the cannabis again taking off. You can check out my my picks here, or like my ideas, they call it. So we have the renewable energy, watching for stocks, or watching cannabis to take off this year. We're watching renewable energy to still fall and take off. We're basically watching it to retrace still, probably more down. It's just at that center line right now. Can I get something here? Do I have it? I see. Okay, here we go. So I don't have Kellner's today, but we do see that coming down more. Kellner's do help with swings, like monthly swings. I would say they really do help. So we'll just say that we're still watching it for a decline, nothing taking off yet. We probably want to get that monthly RSI more down lower if we can. That would really help for an easier swing. Same with TAN, which is the solar. They look about the same. One's wind, one's solar, so they're looking the same. So cannabis, we did have some momentum today. So you can see that it's starting to form, right? We have that green, almost, well, it was green, it was a doji. We have the momentum shifting up. We had RSI trying to come up. We have a nice gap to like 15, so that's like a double from here. Weekly momentum we have a nice gap on there as well, so you want to see gaps through all the time frames. We do have some momentum crossing up here. RSI moving up. And we do have a gap there as well. So we did close green. I thought we did close green when I looked at it. Yeah, it was green. So we did have we have some nice convergence here. Lines converging. Same thing here. Same thing there. So we have nice converging starting. So converging is when the lines push together, kind of like Bollinger Bands when they squish together, they're converging. We did get that retracement on that gap, so hopefully we can get the same thing for weekly, and then hopefully we can see the same thing for monthly, and that could start taking off. So just keep your eye on that. 2 ETFs to watch for cannabis is YOLO YOLO. So that's the biggest one. I think there's about $1 billion in that fund, or maybe all of them put together, but I know there was a pretty big one. There was YOLO and PodX, and there's a few more. PodX, I thought I did have it. Here we go. So they do pretty much look the same all the way around. Momentum moving up. Yeah, so another swing that we could see is actually a pretty big swing. It's pretty much like cannabis right now. It is software. So we do have software taking a major decline here. Almost a drop of 100%, almost. Not yet, but pretty much. Like 190 area to 110. That's almost 100. That's like more than 80%, I think. So that's pretty big. I don't have Keltner's on today. Next time I will, but we are getting that default RSI pretty much almost down there, and when we look back, we can see that. When's the last time it was down there? I swear it did get down there before. Okay, so it's low. It hasn't been this low. Weekly, definitely. It is now oversold. That won't always. It can diverge. Yeah, it can. Actually, it can converge first before it takes off. But we did have last time was a perfect retracement, and you can just go back and have a look. With Keltner's, it would help, but for that center line especially. But that's a pretty big dump. We are getting pretty low. We haven't gotten low since 2009. I don't think we've gotten that low since. That's a pretty huge dump there. $10. That's massive. $8. Well, 23 to $8. It's not really that massive, but it is pretty. It's a pretty big spike on this chart. So this does have spikes like that every now and then. But definitely, we're getting low here, and I would watch that, and we'll talk about it. I don't see it going too much lower here, so if you were to buy here, you'd probably make a lot. So just keep your eye on it. It's an ETF. It's a software ETF. It has like Microsoft, Oracle, Roku. I remember me and my buddy were looking at Roku like in 2017. It was like $10. Who's on Bloomberg, and he wanted to buy it, and literally it was like $10 and went up to like 500. It's like some company got bought up by like some Chinese company, I think, or something like that, and it just went massive over there. It was on Bloomberg. It was like blowing up. And I think like every time we saw it, it was like doubling, and we were like, whoa, holy crap. But yeah, it's pretty much just dumping now, and it's big. It's one of the top 10 holdings in that ETF, which is all software. Just have a look. I mean, it could maybe get down a bit lower, but it pretty much looks like that chart, so maybe their holding of this is pretty big. Yeah, so just keep your eye on it. We'll talk about it next time with Keltner's. Let's see, I had a few CFD plays here, just kind of like watching the forex market a little bit. The oil and stuff, oil and gold. So if that would load, there was for some reason that's not loading. So there was a bit of a short. I did make an idea or make a call. You guys can stay up to date on these. You can just see my trading view. It's called Codeberries. I just made this account like not too long ago, but you can check it out. I do a call every week at least. so you can just check it out. I just do a little call. I don't write like an essay or like paragraphs for it. I just do like a one-liner. Check it out and just, you know, watch the momentum. We had the oil short. It was also good too. They're on the 4 hour at that time. It was going down, and then the candle change was going up for a little bit, but I could see that it was a weekly short starting. Whoops. 78.48. So it did go down. Let's see, low was 77.86. So you open it. So yesterday was Sunday. Yeah, yesterday was Sunday. That's when I did it. What time does it show the time? No. So at this time, 78.39. So then so there you go. So you can see that at that time when I made the post, the low of the week, because these are weekly candles, was 78.39, and after the time moved on, it went down to 77.86. So you can just keep an eye on these. I kind of been watching these for a while, so I kind of know how the momentum moves. So you guys can check it out. Maybe you can learn something. We had the BTC long scalp. What is this, daily? So this one shows it that it was long, kind of faked out there, but it still went up. Either way, that candle still moved up. So what was that? 41.6. That day was red. The next day was green, even before it dumped. So it went up to about 43. A couple thousand points on that maybe. I think I closed out of that one. That was no good. So there's like one bad one out of, that can happen, right? Out of like 10. That's pretty good actually. But just check them out. Keep your eye on the airlines. It's not ready to buy yet, so we'll do an update every now and then on my Twitter, or I just made a Twitter, and definitely on this. I just kind of made this too. So yeah, just check it out. Hopefully that helps you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.